Sarah Tabatabai, thank you so much for joining me on Louisiana Lefty today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, appreciate your joining. You're the Chief Political Officer and Communications Director of Vote Pro-Choice.
Mm-hmm.
And before we record the podcast, I always ask my guest about something that's current in the news for that week.
Sure.
And I wanted to ask you about a report ProPublica put out yesterday about the largest known political advocacy donation in U.S. history, 1.6 billion to be exact, from 90-year-old, I don't know if I'm saying this name right, Barry Sade. He's a manufacturer of surge protectors and data center equipment.
Okay.
And he's given this 1.6 billion to a new-ish company, a newish group found by Federalist Society co-chair Leonard Leo. It's called the Marble Freedom Trust. It's a nonprofit group, so that's all tax exempt, and they don't have to expose who their donors are. And they're looking to funnel tens of millions of dollars into conservative fights across the country. And the Federalist Society, as you know, relevant to the work you do.
Yes.
During Trump's tenure, over 200 judges to federal courts and 3 conservative extremist Supreme Court justices were appointed that were all Federalist Society backed. And the money that the Federalist Society has put into their work over 16 years, working towards more conservative courts, this one donation represents 4 times the money they've spent over those 16 years. And the donor, this billionaire claimed that his donation was an attempt to balance out left-wing philanthropists like George Soros. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. And I guess my big question, not necessarily about that story, it just was a setup. Can we go toe-to-toe with these people in fundraising? How do we counter that?
Okay, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
There is a lot here. And I will say, I am not surprised by this story. We have consistently been outraised by our opponents, mostly because our opponents use tactics that do not require winning the majority of votes. And so when you don't need the majority of votes to gain power, you use money. And so to your point about the Federalist Society, like there has been a very obvious goal over the past years, decades, it's been 50 years of the anti-choice infrastructure to essentially take over courts. And so I'm not shocked. It's terrifying, but the reality is this is what we have been up against since day one. And so that's why it's really important that we are organized, that we are dedicated, because while we may not always be able to go toe-to-toe with fundraising, we do have the votes on our side. And while we still have, a version of a functioning democracy, that means we have power. So, yeah, it's disheartening, but the same folks who write these anti-abortion laws, they're also behind gerrymandered districts. Right. It's all part of what we're up against in general.
So I guess part of it is making sure the public knows that this is the fight and that protecting democracy is really about countering those kind of big dollar donations that are going towards often disinformation.
Yes. I mean, to be clear, it is disinformation to say that this would be creating some sort of balance. Absolutely not. Yeah. But I think that's right. I think talking about it is really important, about the reality of the situation that we're in, because it's dire, it's not inevitable. There's still a lot that we can do, but this is really what we're up against. And they're not, overturning Roe v. Wade was not the end of their fight, that it was the beginning.
And when you say that, what do you mean? Are you saying conservative causes, or are you talking about women's rights, like all the above? Like, what's their next steps?
Sure. I'm talking about the fact that there is a minority group that is in power that does not represent the majority of people in this country, and they would like to keep power. And so a way to keep power is to keep people disenfranchised.
Right.
And so forcing people to give birth against their will, preventing people from being able to live the life with the partner they want, whether that's attacking same-sex marriage or interracial marriage or whatever may be coming down the pipeline. This is an extreme conservative faction. And, you know, like you said, between 1 in 4 and 1 in 3 federal judges was appointed by the Trump administration. So this was their whole goal.
And do you feel heartened at all that Biden has been able to put in a lot of federal judges fairly quickly?
Yes, and I will say I feel very heartened about the fact that he has put in a lot of judges that have experience as public defenders.
Okay.
That is really important and specifically unique to this administration. So I love that. But it's also why, you know, we work really hard with candidates who are running for criminal legal positions, whether that's elected prosecutors, judges, sheriffs, whoever the case may be, because it's really important that we have people who represent the values of the public in these positions.
And you're right. A huge issue right now is there are a group of people trying to protect and secure for long-term, if not permanently, minority rule of the country. And that is where the fight lives. And I look forward to talking to you more about the work that Vote Pro-Choice is doing on the podcast. So sit tight, we'll get right to recording that.
Thank you.
Thanks.